And also now, just to kick off and start off this particular show, you remember we had the magical Kenya Open Golf Championship 2025 held last weekend at the prestigious Muthaiga Golf Club here in the capital, Nairobi. And being a golfer myself, a social golfer for that matter, not a professional one or an amateur one, Kenya registered very dismal results. In fact, I'm being careful with my words, because if I use very harsh words, I might not be allowed back to play golf. Because on this show, I have the chairman of the Kenya Golf Union, my very good friend, David Ndungu. Karibu sana, David.
Thank you, John.
I hope I'm still allowed in playing golf. Asante sana for making time.
Thank you.
Asante. We also have Kenya's top amateur golfer, of course, who has done exploits in and out of the country. My very good friend, Michael Karanga, seated next to the chairman. Michael Karanga, karibu sana. He's also the founder of Michael Karanga Foundation.
Yes.
Iko sawa kabisa. Asante sana. He's Kenya One. We also have the vice chairman of the Professional Golfers of Kenya, PGK. That is Alfred Nandwa. It's good to see you, my brother. Siku mingi sana. Karibu sana kwa Sports Extravaganza and Cape Media as well. We also have one of Kenya's top professional golfers as well, who definitely I've known since 2009, 2008, my very good friend Eric Oko. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Nimekupatia introduction mzuri sana. Ami unaweza sema vizuri baadaye. Karibuni sana gentlemen. It's good to see you. I know most of you are wondering where are the ladies. We are speaking about the men's magical Kenya Open, so we are gender very sensitive. LET litupita tu kidogo hivyo, but we shall be discussing that a bit later. Wacha nianze na chairman wa Kenya Golf Union. Chairman, we had one of the most, for lack of a better word, that was a poor performance by Team Kenya. And yet, of course, looking at how they had been prepared or how they had performed in the previous months leading up to MKO, we didn't have no reason whatsoever why Kenya didn't make the cut to the magical Kenya 2025. From your own gathering, what could have been the problem?
Thank you, Tony.
Karibu.
Always a pleasure to be back here.
Karibu.
That you can be sure is a question that has been in the golf circles a lot this week.
Yes.
Because very unfortunately for second year running, we have not had a Kenyan playing the weekend for the magical Kenya Open. This year also, it will be known to many golfers and golf enthusiasts that we had the largest field of Kenyan players.
True.
A total of 18, 13 professionals, 5 amateurs, since the event graduated to become a main European Tour event in 2019.
Yes.
And as such, many of us had a lot of hope that at least 3 or 4 of the local players would make the cut and play the weekend. That was not to be. So I think your question, why was the performance that way? We are definitely looking into that, but we know some of the answers to those questions. On the part of the professionals, we know that many of them did not have the build-up that they're used to, which we've had for the last 6 or so years.
Yes.
Through the local tour, which is the Safari Tour, that is also owned by the union through the Kenya Open Golf Limited. And so in the absence of that, I know many of them went out of their way to find other tournaments to play. They had a number of 1-day, 2-day local tournaments, but many of them also went out. Not so long ago, a good number of them were down in Kilimanjaro for the Tanzania Open. The week before MKO, they were in Kigali for the Rwanda Open and several other regional tournaments. So they've been making their own efforts to try and find playing time. But we will appreciate also that the level of competition for a DP World Tour event is significantly higher. And so that tournament playing experience at that level is still not sufficient for most of our players.
Indeed. And of course, let me bring in also our top amateur player, Karanga. Karanga, you are just fresh from South Africa, shining in South Africa. You're fresh from Kigali, winning that particular tournament in Kigali. And then that was, of course, just a few days towards the MKO. And so everybody was looking towards you. What happened? What honestly happened?
Thank you.
Because most people are saying there was a lot of, either there was a go slow. What really happened?
Thank you very much, Tony, for hosting me again here. I want to take this opportunity to thank you. Coming on how we did on the Magical Kenya Open, first of all, I want to say, first to qualify for the Magical Kenya Open, to play in the DP World Tour is a very big achievement from our side. So I think the Magical Kenya Open, I've played like 4 of them, but the expectations from the Kenyans, everybody is looking forward to that one particular tournament. If you ask someone, how did Karanga perform in South Africa? I made cut and I became top 8, top 10. I went to Rwanda, I played and I won the tournament. But people forget those 2 events behind, but they are looking forward to that one particular tournament. There is no way you can gauge a player with one tournament. The pleasure is all to us Kenyans. And our mentality to go to play the Magical Kenya Open is all about making cut. Those guys from the DP world, they have like 48 tournaments. They play week in, week out. So when they are coming here to Kenya, they were already in another tournament, playing the same condition, playing the same field. And those guys are exposed. It's like saying now we have Arsenal is coming to Kenya to play with Harambee Stars in Nyayo Stadium. For instance, you say there is a chance for Kenya, for Harambee Stars to win Arsenal because they are playing in Nyayo Stadium. It's their home course, but the skills are different. Those guys are exposed. They are used to that pressure. So what I think is that we lack much exposures. I want to thank the Kenya Gov Union because like us amateurs, we are lucky. We have been traveling courtesy of the Kenya Gov Union. I've been in UK playing the British Amateur Open. I've been in South Egypt. I've been in South Africa playing those kind of level of competition. But they are not still in that standard because that is an amateur tournament played in British Amateur. But this is a DP World Tour competing against the best of the best in the world. But if I tell you, Tony, today, if that Kenya Open comes here, like 4 weeks in a row, I'm telling you, 1 week we will miss the cut. The second 2, 3, 4 days, we'll make the cut, everybody.
That's indeed true. Definitely that the consistency, I know being a player, if you have that consistency in playing golf, definitely your results improve day after the other. Let me bring in the vice chairman of the PGK. My good friend Alfred Nandwa, mulipigania, you really fought for slots to be increased. And there was that period just before the tournament, Magical Kenya Open, whereby you had to be in consultation with DP Tour, with, of course, Kenya Open Golf Limited, until you got those slots. Was that also one of the reasons as to why it impeded Kenyan players to play well? Hapo ndio ilikuwa sababu ama na mnafeel aje kulikuwa aje? Karibu sana.
Thank you, Tony.
Alfred, yes.
First of all, I think I want to thank TV47 and you as a host for giving us this opportunity to come and explain,
please,
to Kenyans, because Kenyans are asking too many questions on the same thing. So you've given us an opportunity to basically answer some of the questions that we can. And it's true we had kind of a scuffle between, I don't want to say Kenya Open Golf Limited because there's an LOC, Local Organizing Committee, that's was in charge of Kenya Open. So basically, we were addressing them as PGK, and it was not between the players and the local organizing committee, but it was PGK having a concern about the number of players who are supposed to play Kenya Open, and we raised the questions.
Yes.
And yes, after several, exchange of conversations, we were able to get an extra 5 slots. I don't want to take that as an excuse and say, oh, we are given the slots a bit late and all that, because at the end of the day, all of us are golfers and all of us should be ready to play in any tournament at any given time. The main thing is about preparation. So who is prepared? Are you prepared or not? So even if you are given 50 slots, for example, and you are not prepared for the same, I don't think it's going to make much of a change. The issue was not about the performance, but the issue was at first the participation, because we feel like the Kenyan government being the main sponsor of the event, we feel like we should be given more opportunities as Kenyan professional golfers, and being taxpayers, by the way, because these taxpayers' money being used to sponsor this kind of an event. So which is very unique, by the way, because in many countries, DP2 is sponsored by corporate world. But in this case, the Kenyan government takes the biggest sponsorship. So they are the main sponsors. So as Kenyan players, we feel like we should be given more opportunities. Whether we're going to perform or not, definitely, all of us want to perform and play well. Anytime we're entering to a competition, no one wants to lose, no one wants to become number 2, but it boils down to preparation. Were we prepared or not? So, to answer your question, Tony, the fact is that it's not about the time that we are given, the slots, but it's all about preparation. To be honest, we haven't played, as the chairman has said. We haven't played the Safari Tour. I would say last season we didn't play. So for that, and even the last season but one, last year but one, the season was not complete because we played only 6 events. Starting maybe, we started I think in August, we finished in February. So there was no ample time for the season also. That is previous year, last year but one. So I would say the last 2 seasons, we haven't been able to play golf competitively. And that's one of the reasons why we are not able to perform. Again, we have had several players like Eric here who have gone out of their ways. They have looked for tournaments outside Kenya to go and play and participate. There is Uganda, there is Gabon, there is Tanzania, there is Rwanda. All those events are at least 72 holes events. But again, the caliber of the players you are competing with matters a lot.
Indeed.
For example, the Sunshine Tour, the DP Tour are very consistent in terms of course setup. They have to maintain a certain standard. For that player who is playing for 8 events, or for more than 40 events, more than 25 events, that guy has got 25 opportunities to do the same thing on the same kind of, almost same kind of environment.
Okay.
You know, they played Qatar.
Yes.
Just 2 weeks before the Kenya Open. I want to believe the speed of the greens, for example, to use that one as an example, the speeds of the greens are supposed to be within a certain level, a certain, it can be, for example, a certain standard, between, for example, 11 to 12, that is the standard routine for DP Tour. So if they come to Kenya, they want to make sure the Kenya Open, they have almost the same green speeds. And for that reason, the players who have been playing, who are playing, for example, Qatar Open, they have the same opportunity to come and play part well on our greens. Let me take an example with the players who went to Rwanda and play. Eric was one of them, together with Karanga. I didn't get a chance to go and play there. I was a bit late. So these guys, I want to believe, and they can attest to that, the green speed they were playing in Rwanda, you can't compare with the green speed we were playing at Kenya Open. They are totally different. Why? Because these are 2 different events. But when it comes to a DP Tour player, this player knows at worst, the green speed will be at a certain level. So they are even mentally prepared. Because when it comes to sport, Tony, and this now applies to...
Yeah, before I give also Eric an opportunity.
Yes, it comes to... This comes to the players themselves. Like there's the internal factors, the external factors that determines the performance of a player. All those things are some of them. The course setup, the environment, the experience and all that.
Indeed. And of course, just to bring in also as well, Eric, you are also in Rwanda. I'm sure you are prepared. It was just a few days before the event. I was just talking to some golfers, of course, weather experts, and of course, people who have in-depth information about golf, and they're saying the accused players, our local players, that local players don't present themselves or they don't push themselves to the level whereby they can be picked up by either sponsors or be supported to participate in these international events. Is that true or not? And you've been at Muthaiga and playing tournaments at Muthaiga, whether just for social and those events. A layman will ask that question. Muna hii tournament hapa kila siku go Muthaiga. Kwani Muthaiga ilikuwa upside down? Eric.
Thank you very much, Tony. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for inviting me here.
Karibu.
I've never been to this place.
You are most welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah. To me, all I can say is that there's a lot of things that we really need to do going forward.
Yes.
Muthaiga is the same Muthaiga, but as my vice chairman said here, is that the preparation and other things. I was in Rwanda. The condition is different, as you heard. But one thing that I know is that the way we prepare ourselves for the major competition, Tony, I can tell you that some of us have gone outside so many times just to get that kind of exposure. But even if you come to Kenya, you come back home, it's only one tournament. You know, it's a tournament that is something, it's like life and death. So it's become very, very hard for us to participate because all the eyes are on you. They want you to participate and to perform well. Like me, I can say that I've been practicing and playing outside a lot, but I didn't qualify in the first place. I only went and made my way through Windsor. So it was a sort of short notice, which can also lead to failure. You know, you're going to underperform because there's a lot of pressure. You're trying to engage the sponsors. You have also like 3 to 4 days. But if we can also have a tour that can run in Kenya, let's say if we are able to have like 10, 11 tournaments a year, we'll be okay. But this tournament we need to have tournament that can be similar with the standard that even if you are to play at Muthaiga today, we actually can talk to the Muthaiga, whatever the committee, so that we are also going to play on the same condition that can relate to the DP World Tour tournament, so that the greens can be the same, all the setup, so that when it reaches next year, we don't need to complain again, oh, the greens were slow and these ones are fast. You know, as a professional, you're not supposed to complain about the speed of the green. Once you're a pro, you're supposed to go outside there and make your way. But now, we lack tournament, to be honest, Tony. We have to go outside to find a way for you just to keep on playing. You have to be competitive. Otherwise, even if you bring this tournament next year and there's nothing happening here local, it's not going to change anything. So the first thing is we need to have a tour. If the tour can start even for, let's say 4 million Kenya money, we'll get more people will come from outside. And we need to play this tournament at least twice a month, once a month, and you will find Kenyans are making cut in the Kenya Open. This time around we had a good number. 13 was good enough. But to be honest, there were no tournament before, so the preparation for local pros was zero. You know, we have people who cannot go outside. So if you're not able to go outside, that means even if you qualify to play in the Kenya Open, you're only going to wait for the Kenya Open to come. But is it good enough? It's not good enough. So we just need a tournament that can run within this country so that it can also help the local pro to participate and perform well. Then another thing,
Yes.
This is to the chairman. Yes. Since we have Kenya Open, it's being organized within the country.
Yes.
And they are able to get $2.5 million. Why don't you take, like, let's just take 50 million, only 50 million, and put that money aside for local. Let's play for maybe 240 million. We still have a good number coming from outside, even top players. Even if it's 50 million, 60 million, set it aside to prepare the local for next year. So let's have something that can sustain the local. Like let me give you example today, Tony. The 2.5 million gone like that. Am I right? That money went. There's no even a single Kenyan who gone with even 0.0%. There's nothing. Now, why don't we have something that can sustain the locals? So that even if we bring in the tournament next year, you will be able to find maybe 2 or 3 people from Kenya professionals or even amateurs. Like 10-15% is going to be left within the country. So all the money is going outside because of the poor preparation that we have within the country. So if they can actually organize and set even 60 or 70 million for us,
yes,
to prepare the local for the next tournament, it can be a very good idea.
Indeed.
Yes.
And Chairman, of course, you come in. I would like you to respond to that, whereby it seems that there is a lot of money that is injected into that preparation of the magical Kenya Open, and then at the end of the 4 days, I mean, there is nothing that even professionals can look back and say, even if I didn't make it, I didn't get anything. And even if they didn't make a cut and there was money pumped into their preparations, then there will be something you can always look after. And of course, share with us why there were any issues about the Safari Tour or their preparations towards the magical Kenya Open. Chairman.
Tony, the way sports is now being managed globally has really changed. And we also must change the same, even here in the country. Some of the things that are going on with, for example, the organization of events is to find ways to bring in partners, typically what we call sponsors, who sometimes will not be on the same table. What do I mean by that? you'd find if Bank A is sponsoring, Bank B, C, and D will not show up, okay? Because Bank A wants that exclusivity. But we're now beginning to see international sports get to a level where, because one organization may not have all the resources, it actually makes sense to even invite your competitors to come in as partners in order to support the sport. So those are some of the initiatives that we're looking at, especially with regards to reviving the Safari Tour. So one thing I want to assure this gentleman here, who are also my good friends, is that this year the Safari Tour is coming back. Last year we did not have it, as Alfred said. The previous year we also had a very shortened season, largely because of the battered economy that we've had. So most organizations have not had that extra shilling to put into initiatives like supporting sports. On the player side as well, I don't expect, and I know for Michael here, he has somebody that does those discussions on his behalf. When Eric is preparing, and I use Eric as an example, to mean any of the pro golfers, yes. When he's preparing for a major tournament, all he needs to be thinking about is preparing for a major tournament. He need not worry about where his kit will come from, yes. Where his food will come from, yes. And all of that. So it's high time also as a country we evolved sports to the level where we now have professional either individual managers or management companies, okay, that can take up a number of players. If you look at global organizations like IMG, for example, you will find they manage sportsmen across different disciplines, okay? So nothing stops us as a country from evolving to that level where we have a sports management agency here that manages a footballer, a motorsport driver, a golfer, a hockey player, a cricketer. That's the direction that the world is going in. Because then if it boils down to the player to think about, will I be able to negotiate for an extra slot there? Will I be able to get new clubs to play? You will never be able to have all the time to do that. So this might sound like things that are far away, but we have to start doing them now. Or rather, we have started doing them now. There is a lot of talk right now about tours for the professionals. If you look at amateur golf and what we've done in the last 3-4 years, we have been victims of our own success, because a lot of the elite amateurs find that it's more lucrative to stay an amateur than to turn pro. Okay, why? Because we have, thankfully, a lot of partners, or enough partners, that are sustaining the amateur side of the game, to the point where it becomes such a problem for us, we had to reach out to the PGK to tell them, guys, this is not good for you, it's not good for us. Okay. So let's find a way to unlock this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chairman, of course, thank you for that. I'll also be asking you later on. We've had talk about DP Tour, might not be there next season. The Kenya Magical Open, you'll of course clear that air. I've had some silent voices. If you're joining us, this is Sports Extravaganza. This, of course, is Tony Kwalanda. Every Saturday, 4 to 7 p.m. I have, of course, some of the top golfers in the country who represented us in the Magical Kenya Open that, of course, happened last weekend at Muthaiga Golf Club. I have the chairman of Kenya Golf Union, David Ndungu. I have Kenya's top amateur, Michael Karanga. I also have the vice chairman of PGK, Professional Golfers Association of Kenya. That is my good friend, Alfred Nando. And also a professional golfer, Eric Oko. We are taking a very short break. Don't go away. They'll be telling us more about who is supporting them. Is that support enough? And that's the chairman has said, do they need management, and do they have those management? And what can be done to ensure that at least they just focus on golf instead of thinking about going home, doing this and playing golf, so many things, and then making them a professional. Don't go away. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back. This is Sports Extravaganza. Thank you for staying with us all the way from 4 p.m. I have, of course, some of the who is who in the world of golf. The chairman of Kenya Golf Union. I also have the PGK vice chairman. That's my good friend Alfred Nandwa. I also have Kenya's top amateur, Michael Karanga, as well as one of top professional golfers, Eric Oko. We're discussing about, of course, what went wrong or what we went amiss during the 2025 Magical Kenya Open at Muthaiga Golf Club. Remember, you can be part of this conversation. The numbers are below your screen. Talk to us. Let me just get to Karanga. So what was of course, we mentioned that tournaments, preparations, status. Do you think the professional status of Kenya in golf is there, or we are just playing golf for the sake of golf? Because as you've said, from what, of course, the vice chairman of PGK said, the likes of Guidos, the likes of the winners, Kushwich from South Africa, who won the tournament, they are fully in it. You've been to South Africa. Do you think you're at the same level with them? And what could be the problem that Kenya is not doing to be like South Africa?
Tony, in terms of golf, us golfers in Kenya and those guys, we are in a very different level of golf. The level of competition, first of all, like myself as an amateur, we have like 25 events, traveling everywhere around Kenya, competing with the same people every day, week in, week out, competing with Regina, competing with Adair, competing with Elvis. We will not go anywhere. If we are coming here to compete with 5 guys in a tournament, we should come up with a...
Who should we compete against?
First,
Chairman Akwapa.
Chairman, we thank Chairman. We have a very good series that is running for NCBA. It is sustaining us. Why don't ask yourself, why am I not running a professional? If I have to turn a professional, not in Kenya. Because if you turn a professional, you end up being a teaching professional, and that's not my profession. My profession is a playing profession. So, like now, we are building up the junior sector, like the Junior Golf Foundation, like my foundation, Michael Karanga Foundation. Yes. We are building up something that will come to become an amateur. Someone will become a top amateur, like Karanga. But if you are building the juniors, why don't you build even the pros? Because this junior will come from junior, coming to the amateurs, where else? That is the end of the story. But if you are coming up with a strategy of building juniors, you should also build where they are heading to, is the professional rank. I think even our series, the NCBA series, the amateur one, it should not be bigger than the professionals. We are playing 25 tournaments. 0 professionals are playing a Mashariki tour. Same money, playing for the same money. Actually, lower prize money than even the amateurs. So when you tell me to turn pro, it's becoming like I'm going down, not I'm going up. So we should have a tour that it is making a lot of sense. When I turn a professional, I will run a raving. You know, if we have a good series, we can negotiate with those Sunshine Tour. We have 25 tournaments for professional in Kenya. The winner of this tournament will get a tour card to go to play to Sunshine Tour. The winner of our Kenyan series. But now, it's like an amateur. We play for 1 slot to play for Kenya Open. Imagine playing 25 tournaments, awarding the best golfer out of 150 golfers across Kenya, traveling everywhere, looking for 1 slot. It should be the same as professional. We come up with a tour, the corporate world to come in. Like now we see Kenya Open. How many corporate world came in and chipped in and sponsored that event? They only come and sponsor the one particular event. You see, like this Magical Kenya Open is presented by ABSA. But ABSA, why don't they come up with this and come and assist the professional world to prepare even much better for the Kenya Open? We have a series called the ABSA Open, the ABSA Professional Tour. Yeah.
Vice Chairman, professional golfers, why are amateurs shining more in terms of tournaments? We know more of the likes of Karanga. We don't know more of the professional golfers. Professionals is sort of a dormant. what needs to be done? Is it Kenya? What have you done as PGK?
Yeah, thank you, Tony, again. You see now, golf is a very unique game. It's by the nature of itself. The pyramid of golf, if you look at international world, looks like this. So this means the top here, there are few people, but that's where the money is. But now we don't look at it that way here locally, unfortunately. And this one is mainly because I think the corporate world has not been able to appreciate the market that is there in golf, in golfing fraternity. And until the corporate world is able to identify or to realize that there is market in golf, then they come to sponsor professional golf and actually make it something, a game that people can make a living from. Then it will be good. Because now amateurs, NCBA have actually, through KGU, and I really applaud KGU on that one because it's the initiative. They negotiated that and NCBA were able to buy the idea and they gave them a series. As professional golfers, in the first place, the numbers. The sponsors want the numbers. We are very few, so to speak, because we are active 70 professional golfers in the country. And if you go to amateurs, there are more than 18,000 amateur golfers. So even if it was you as a sponsor, you want to market your product, you go to where the numbers are. So for that reason, we have, through the KGU again, because they are the people with the numbers, we have to negotiate for PGK to get sponsorship. And that way we can only like talk to the sponsors and tell the sponsors, look, we have 18,000 golfers. By the end of the year, we want these 100 golfers out of these 18,000 golfers to be professional golfers. So out of the 70, by the end of the year, we'll have 170 golfers. That way, maybe a corporate or a sponsor will start looking at it in that line, and they'll start seeing numbers, basically. And that's the main way we can only be able to get something at the top here, at the top of the pyramid, where the professionals are sitting.
Indeed. Yeah. And Eric, of course, as the point was made earlier concerning, we do a lot of tournaments and then we just get one. Of course, what Karanga was mentioning, that there's all this series and all, and then we just have one. What do we need to do? As in, talk to us, because somebody will be listening. The chairman is here, of course, other stakeholders are here, the corporates are also watching. What do you think, in your own opinion, that needs to revive?
I think, to me, what Karanga said is really making a lot of sense, because you can't have a field of like 26 or 27 tournaments a year, then you're only selecting one. You're only rewarding one person. It doesn't add up, to be honest. So since chairman is here, he had what Karanga said, we are also supporting. Give even 3 is a good number. If you give top 3 to go and participate in the amateur, what do we call it, the amateur top 3 to represent Kenya in the Magical Kenya Open, because I think that was the discussion. Then that make a lot of sense, because instead of taking only one player after all 26 tournaments, maybe 3, it's a good number. But now when you come to the professional side, we are playing for money. And when it reaches a point whereby you're playing for money and it's only once a year, Tony, it becomes very, very hard. But I believe in the future, things will change, because as you can see, a lot of things are changing right now. The same way amateurs are also having a lot of tournaments. We pray each and every day that things will change. And being a pro, by the way, you are supposed to be a pro whereby if someone tell you today, Tony, Alfred is a pro who is able to cater for his own bill. You are supposed to earn a good coin. You are not supposed to be struggling. So the reason why these people, they don't want to turn a pro is because even after you turn a pro, what are you going to do, as Karanga said? There's nothing up there. So the first thing, even if you are going to build the juniors, after the junior, they go to elite amateur. After the elite amateurs, you can only go to professional. So if up there, there's a lot of stake, Tony, everyone would want to turn a pro. Right now, we have the less number. We are few because no one wants to turn a pro. But if you have something up there, people will be running, let me turn a pro, there's good money. Honestly, professional golfers in this country, we are struggling. We are struggling to put food on our table because of lack of tournament. But to be honest, things are opening up. And as chairman said, they are going to do something about it. Let's have something that can sustain the local professional. And with that, you'll find a lot of Kenyans professionals are making cut. Remember, we had current masters. 22 Kenyans played on that current masters. Do you know how many made cut? There were more than, I think, 6. 9 actually. That's a very good number. So let's have something that even if you're going to participate a lot of like maybe 15 or 16 pros, you will find that a good number is making the cut because of the preparation. So we just need to go back to the, you see, those are the things that we need to.
Chairman, the golfers are, I'm sure they're just trying to be kind to you because you are their leader, but you can hear their cry. Of course, I'm sure it's very loud enough to your ears. I'm sure you're aware of that. What are the next steps? Because of course they need to put food on the table. And if they are not able to put food on the table, they will not focus on the sport. And also, as you share into that, the DP tour, do we still have it next year? Because we're hearing stories about it not being there or it being there. And then shed light on what transpired between DP tour, LOC, KLOG in terms of slots. What is that? What are slots? What do slots mean?
Those are many questions, Tony, but I'll do my best.
Please, in the shortest possible time.
Capture the best answers in the shortest time possible.
Yes, please.
In terms of what is being done, early in the week, we as a union shared a commentary about what it is that we're doing, because this question gets asked a lot of times. Every MKO, at the end of every Kenya Open, the question is, why do we have the same result? What are you people doing about it? We have been going through, and we've seen this even in other sports, a regeneration of the players. And I'm not saying this to mean that, Michael Karanga cannot win MKO, Alfred Nando cannot win MKO. Of course they can. They still have the opportunity. It's a tall order, and there's quite a bit of work to do. But Eric, I think, is the one who's mentioned about the work that we're doing with junior golf. Apart from having the Junior Golf Foundation, whose primary mandate is to broaden the base, to bring in more kids into the sport, 2 years ago, we introduced a program called the High Performance Program, which has less than 20 players, all of whom are below the age of 22. Okay? And some of what we've seen this year, for example, we had a 15-year-old boy who was part of the Kenya amateur players that were playing in the MKO. And there are several others like him. I'm sure if you talk to these guys, they've played with some of them, and they've seen the kind of talent that we bring out in those kids. And I expect that high performance program, exactly what Karanga is talking about, you're not only preparing them at the young age where you have 13, 14, even. I mean, we have the youngest player in that program who's 12 years old, beginning to understand how to manage their game in terms of practice, in terms of strength and conditioning, in terms of psychological preparedness, in terms of the technical aspects of it, taking your statistics. Not just golf, but all sports today are based on data. And so these kids will then graduate to become the elite amateurs and then move on to the pro ranks. So there is a plan. We're not just sitting back twiddling our thumbs. There is a plan to ensure that over time we have enough throughput of players going through that program. Is there or is Kenya Open next year part of the DP World Tour? Absolutely not. I don't know where the rumors have come from. I don't know who has told them otherwise. I can say authoritatively, because I sat in that meeting exactly a week ago today with the CEO of the DP World Tour who was here during the Kenya Open. And they love this event. They love the Kenya circuit. And there's nothing they would want more than for us to continue being part of it. And so as far as we are concerned, as part of KOGL, who is the owner of the event, NDP World Tour, the event still continues to be part of the series. There is obviously quite a bit of work that we have to do this year to ensure that continues. So there's zero reason to think that it's falling off. I know part of it has been linked to the challenge we had with the LET event. The structure of the Ladies European Tour event that we hosted here, which was a Magical Kenya Ladies Open, and the structure of the Men's Kenya Open is very different. Yes, they are similar events, but the promoters are different. The agreements within which both events run are very different, and the contracts were held by different entities. Okay. But for now, there is absolutely no basis for the rumors that MKO is falling off the DP World Tour calendar.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Chairman. Karanga, in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Of course, you have partners, you have sponsors, you have people who push you, you have people who support you. Do they support you fully? Of course, we have to make it professional because you have to be professional. Do they professionally support you?
Yeah,
And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Karan.
yes, I 100% they support me. I earn a salary of wearing a brand. This is a shop and deliver, but it's a company trading as Betika. So they believe in my talent, and actually it's all about giving them mileage. You can't be just being sponsored and you are not delivering. So I want to thank Shop and Deliver, Trading as Betika for their commitment and support throughout the calendar, and even some going outside Kenya to go and get some exposure. I don't take it for granted.
Sure.
Yeah, because even some of us here are looking forward for sponsors, and I'm just one of the luckiest man being sponsored by Betika. And not, like in Kenya Open, we had another corporate sponsor who came in, NCBA, and also they are promoting golf in Kenya, and yeah.
That's so. Nandwa, in 1 minute, PGK Vice Chairman. I know there was some sponsors that are competing brand that came in. These brands have the ability to come last minute to sponsor you in the last tournament. Are they there with you long term? Ama tu mnavaa tu sahi alafu miezi tatu next mnakauka?
Oh, thanks.
And what is the arrangement? In 1 minute and a half.
It's a company by the name Macau Entertainment. Trade name is 9UBet. It's a betting firm. This company is still actually very new in the country. We are yet to launch it. And we, 2 or 3 players, I don't want to mention names, we have an agreement with the 9UBet. First of all, we started with a 1-year contract, which we agreed some of us are going to play locally and some of us are going to play internationally. And it depends on the type of the agreement you took. So it's a company that it has come to support, and as you saw, within a very short notice, we went and requested them to sponsor the qualifiers for the Kenya Open, and they were able to give us 1.1 million. That was very, very, very good of them. And that tells you they're here to stay and they're here to support the Kenyan golfers and professionals, to be precise.
Very good. Eric, is there hope for golf? Someone who's watching back in Nyalugunga or in Oyugis, is there something hope for golf? Because at the end of the day, people play golf to put something on the table.
Yes, there's a lot of hopes because golf has gone all the way to Mashindani. So there's a lot of support that are coming from even the government and schools. Those ones are, up countries. There's a lot of hope in this country now that golf is gonna be big, and it's growing. Like the number that is there now you have a very big number. And in terms of support, if there's one person that always, this guy has supported like more than 70% of golfers in this country, professional, whether amateur, Betika. I've also been supported by Betika. I've been traveling a lot outside Kenya, West Africa. Everywhere I go, Betika, they always give me a ticket. So we just do a budget. They sponsor like 6-7 pros. We go outside. Then I also have a one white man who lives in Dubai, and another one from Denmark. If I tell them that I have a tournament that I'm going to play, they always support me. And these people have supported me big time. And Betika has become like our godfather. Those are the people who supported me during the Kenya Open. And even if they were going to say, Eric, we are not going to give you something, but I want you to wear my brand, I was not going to say no. These are people, they have done this several times. Ever since I started going outside, these Betikas, they always supported me. So these are people that I don't take that for granted.
Okay.
And I would also like to thank the chairman
Yes.
of Kenya Golf Union that just take your time, but please give us the best so that the people who are coming, the juniors, will get the best future. And you can leave a legacy. Leaving a legacy is go and do something that people will remember you with. That is the only thing I can say today. And thank you very much, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, Eric, for that.
Yeah.
And of course, as we wind up, in 1 minute, under 1 minute, Chairman, because I know I need to follow protocol. I'm a golfer, so I lazima chairman, the chairman amalize mkutano. Notable successes that you might pick from your, your reign and what you're looking forward in 2025 in a minute, less than a minute?
Thank you, Tony. I think we've, number one, been able to solidify some of the gains we've had over the last few years. I just talked about the air performance program that we are running. It's supported by the RNA, which is a global governing golf body. We've seen a lot of successes of that program because it's something they do Africa-wide.
Yes.
To just professionalize how we bring up new and young players.
Yes.
We've seen more and more clubs want to be part of the National Amateur Series. As Michael was saying, in fact, the number he quoted, 2026,
yes,
was a number of events that we had in 2023. Yes. This year we have 31. And that is just a testament of how clubs are finding it more valuable, yes, for them to want to come in to be part of building new talent and developing better golfers. And what happens with those kind of events is that for every club that hosts part of the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship, they gain in terms of greenkeeping experience, they gain in terms of skills and knowledge of how to set up golf courses, how to run tournaments. So there's a lot of knowledge sharing that has gone on. We have more skills coming in for the golf administrators, for the greenkeepers and the like. So we have quite a number of good things that are going on, which I'm sure will continue even beyond my term. And for me, it's all about leaving a place better than I found it.
Thank you, Chairman, Kenya Golf Union. That is David Ndungu. Kenya's top amateur player, that is Michael Karanga, also the founder of Michael Karanga Foundation. We also have the vice chairman of the professional PGK Kenya, that is Alfred Nandwa, and also one of our top professional golfers, Eric Oko, who, of course, remember, they represented us during the 2025 Magical Kenya Open. Thank you. This conversation, of course, continues. It's a huge conversation. You can have it for 72 million hours. But, of course, for this part, it's just a start and initiating that process, of course, having conversation about how we can improve golf. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I play with them golf. They're just being kind. I will have asked them very in-depth and tell them what they do on the course when you're not watching. But that will do it, of course, on our social media platform.